The Horse Soldiers is a 1959 Western film set during the American Civil War. The movie was directed by John Ford, and it stars John Wayne, William Holden, and Constance Towers. John Lee Mahan and Martin Rackin wrote the screenplay, which was loosely based on Harold Sinclair's 1956 novel of the same name, which is a fictionalized version of Grierson's raid that happened in Mississippi. Exterior scenes were filmed in Nacogdoches Parish, Louisiana, along the banks of the Cane River Lake, and in and around Natchez, Mississippi. The film company built a bridge over the Cane River for the exciting pivotal battle scene, and many locals from that area were hired as extras. The story involves Colonel John Marlowe, played by John Wayne, as he leads the Union cavalry on a raid behind Confederate lines to destroy a railroad and supply depot at Newton Station. Major Henry Kendall is the unit's doctor, who doesn't believe in war and does not get along with John at all. At a stop at the Greenbrier Plantation, the cavalry arrest Miss Hannah Hunter and her slave Lukey after they eavesdrop on the commanders. Since they have learned the Union's plan to head to Baton Rouge, Marlowe has no choice but to take the women with him or kill them. While Miss Hunter hates her Union captors, she eventually falls for the colonel. After a number of battles, skirmishes, and raids, many men are lost on both sides. The rebels manage to shoot Lukey during a guerrilla attack, and she dies. Along the way, the U.S. cavalry manages to destroy the supply line, and they head south to Baton Rouge with the Confederates hot on their trail. In the end, the only thing that stands between the Union cavalry and success is one lone bridge. So Marlowe orders his men to rig it with explosives, but Major Kendall refuses to leave the side of the badly wounded Union soldiers, even though this will result in his capture. Upon Marlowe's men setting the proper explosives, Marlowe says his goodbyes to Hannah and Kendall, and then he blows up the bridge. Hannah and Major Kendall are now trapped on the side of the river as the approaching Confederates, but Marlowe and his men ride away victorious off to Baton Rouge. This movie marked the beginning of mega deals for Hollywood stars. John Wayne and William Holden received $775,000 each, plus 20% of the overall profits. This was a completely unheard of sum for that time. The final contract involved 6 companies, and it numbered twice the pages of the movie's script. The problem was, the film was a financial failure, and no profits were to be shared in the end. Being a longtime alcoholic, John Ford was ordered by his doctors to abstain from drinking, or he would surely die from its effects. Even though he was known for his notorious stubbornness, Ford obeyed the physician's orders at this time. The absence of drink caused him to treat his cast and crew rougher than usual, and he wasn't a very nice guy to start with. The one who usually got the brunt of this treatment, drink or no drink, was John Wayne. Ford always gave him hell on the set. I never have understood why John Wayne, once he became such a mega star, put up with his stuff like he did. I think he just felt so indebted to the man and looked up to him so much because of his career that he just let him do it. The famous director demanded that on this shoot, John Wayne was to abstain from drinking too, even though that he didn't have any such orders from his physician to do this. Wayne finally begged the producer to get him away from Ford for a little bit, even though it might only be a short, brief moment. The producer obliged and lied to Ford, telling him that Wayne's teeth were beginning to show up yellow on film, and that he needed to take both Wayne and William Holden to New Orleans to have their teeth cleaned. So the producer, Wayne, and William Holden spent the next night roaring drunk in the Crescent City, after which they had to return to a furious Ford, who knew through his spies exactly how many bars they had visited on their trip to the dentist. Ford made sure to pay the black extras that he used in Louisiana and Mississippi the same pay as the white extras. He also cast tennis champ Althea Gibson as Lukey, partly to attract the African-American viewers. She was basically considered the female Jackie Robinson of tennis. And just prior to being in this film, she had won Wimbledon and the U.S. Open tennis championships in 1957 and 1958. Her character of Lukey had the original dialogue written in the stereotypical way for slave voices of that time. Althea found this offensive, and she wouldn't do it. She informed John Ford that she wouldn't deliver her lines that way. Though Ford was notorious for his intolerance of actors' demands, he agreed to modify the script to meet her needs. When John Wayne's character of Colonel Marlowe first meets William Holden's character of Major Kendall, he accuses him of being out of uniform because he's not wearing his sidearms. In that particular scene, Marlowe is wearing a cavalry sword. However, throughout the rest of the film, Marlowe does not wear any sidearms. Even when the Confederate forces are charging through the street and one of his junior officers offers him a pistol, and he waves it off. There's a risque line that happens during the film that's during the dinner scene between the troops and Hannah Hunter. At that time, she suggestively offers Colonel Marlowe a leg or a breast. This line is repeating dialogue by Grace Kelly to Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief from 1955, done by Alfred Hitchcock. Just prior to the start of production, Paramount Pictures filed an injunction against William Holden in an attempt to prevent the actor, who was under contract with the studio, from appearing in this production, which was a United Artists release. A district court denied Paramount's request, clearing the way for Holden to appear in the film. During the filming of the climactic battle scene, veteran stuntman Fred Kennedy executed a fall from a horse improperly, and he broke his neck and died during this act. He had broken his neck once before, 2 years earlier, but it had healed. He had appeared in a lot of films that were directed by John Ford, and the director considered him a close friend. A newspaper article from the day of the accident states that while he was trying to execute this stunt that was done so the character could elicit sympathy from the leading lady of the film, Constance Towers, the production company's spokesman said that when Miss Towers leaned over to kiss the fallen actor, she noticed that he was gasping for breath and was unable to speak at all. His death affected John Ford greatly. After the incident happened, he halted filming and immediately moved the production back to Hollywood. The movie was originally scripted to end with the triumphant arrival of Marlowe's forces in Baton Rouge, but Ford just completely lost interest in the project after Kennedy's death. He ended the film with Marlowe's farewell to Hannah Hunter before crossing and blowing up the bridge. The film opened #1 in the United States, but it was a commercial failure. Analysts said that this was due largely to Wayne and Holden's high salaries and the complex participation of multiple production companies in its making. The response of audiences and critics was considered lackluster. I still think it's a great John Wayne film. William Holden even outshines the Duke in his role, and that's hard to do. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.